Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Empires and Puzzles video. We've got the Soul Exchange here, number 15 or something like that. Just pretty crazy to think how long that's been going on. If you've ever wondered what Empires and Puzzles would be like with way more quality of life features, a dev team that listens to player feedback, and more value for your money spent, then download Gemstone Legends right now from the links in the description of this video to get yourself a free $50 starter bonus. I know it can be intimidating to start a new game like this, but between myself and other great content creators, there are tons of tutorial videos out there to make playing Gemstone Legends a lot of fun. The fact that they offer a $50 starter bonus to new players and have such great quality of life features are two big reasons why over 50,000 Empires and Puzzles players have already made the switch. It's awesome, and I look forward to seeing you there. So there've been a lot of videos about this already. It seems to be a huge race. Who's going to talk about it first? So I know people have already made up their minds because some people, for some reason, choose right away. I guess it's just the excitement of it. However, I thought I would still put my thoughts in here because it seems like when I do so, some people appreciate that. So we have some good options here. A little bit surprised with where some of them have landed. And that's always been true, but it seems increasingly true where just some of them are bizarrely placed. So starting off with what I think is probably the best value here for 10, we'll start with the 10s. We have Void Star, average speed, special skill, never misses its targets, deals 620% damage to the target, heals all allies for 40% of damage dealt. So 620 is quite a bit. Though you can see with double limit break, attack stats, it would probably break 1500 if you took a different emblem path. The fact that defense is higher makes me think that this is not the ideal attack forward emblem path. And then all allies get plus 74% defense against special skills for 4 turns. So that's quite good. That's a lot of value here at average speed. Passive is innate resistance against poison, which we're not seeing a whole lot these days. And this one, which is quite good, 20% of damage received by this character is shared with all other allies. So difficult to kill in addition to the paladin and defense up ether ability. Family bonus real quick. Bonus for one hero, 50% chance to dispel a random dispellable status effect buff from an enemy who deals special skill damage to this character. So yeah, pretty damn good. Definitely tempting. If this was fast speed, I'd probably be all over it. Average speed is a little more unreliable to use, but yeah, great hero. Next up, we have, not even going to try to say that. And as always, the video is going to be too long if I look at all the passives and everything, so keep in mind that you're going to want to factor the passives in as you try to make up your mind, but almost always you're not going to be making a decision just based on the passive, so that you got to have a good foundation there first. So you can see already the stats are quite a bit lower here. Slow speed, all allies get plus 54% defense and a further 5 increase every time they're hit during 3 turns, up to 79. All allies recover 1000 health after 3 turns, not over 3 turns. If the effect is removed or replaced, they recover 1400, so that's pretty cool. All allies gain 25% mana after 3 turns. If it's removed, they gain 35 instead. The killer here is slow speed, so this would be like a rush attack hero. I just think there are better choices out there, so it's hard to advocate for slow heroes. There are an increasing number of slow heroes that are dominating on defense in the war meta and raid meta, but this is not one of those heroes. All right, the Cardinal. These passives are worth looking into, or is it the family bonus? Yeah, the cover mechanic is pretty damn good. Deals 330 to all, but that's with a fairly low attack stat. Keep in mind that the closer the attack number gets to the defense number of who you're attacking, the bigger the damage is, and there's like a weird transition point where it starts to scale up really fast, which is why you see some of the new heroes that are also doing 330% damage that are almost wiping out your team, whereas this guy would just give a bit of a tickle depending on what your defense stats are like. So yeah, just factor that in. The stats have become the most important thing in the game, unfortunately. The most dominant thing. So 330 to all, Spy Fiend with 45% attack, 30% health absorb. Spy Fiend steals one dispellable buff, gives it to a character on the other team. So kind of like a dynamic dispel there. Yeah, I don't think I can say in any case he's better than Void Star. So she was really popular for a while. Again, slow speed, which is tough. Super dominant ability in rush attack if you can get her to charge. Still a bit niche, and the stats are really hurting these days. Deals 385 to all. Caster regenerates 918 over 6 turns. All enemies reflect status effect buffs to a random character. All allies for 6 turns. That's crazy long. All allies reflect status ailments to a random character on the opposing team for 6 turns. So those are really good. Excuse me. All right, and one that I like here, that is tempting. I just think not ultimately better, but Teddy here. So deals 180 to all enemies. Quite low. Let's put that out there. All enemies fall asleep and receive plus 70% increased damage while sleeping. All allies regenerate 1200 over 4 turns. So 300 per turn plus whatever healing bonus you have from your troops. So the sleep is nice. There's just not enough going on here. You could probably build a good team, but you only get the one hit that capitalizes. So you need to like place some defense down, maybe elemental defense down, then him, then someone else. And I just think that many heroes, it's not really worth the setup. So when he came out, I thought that was really cool. The sleep thing has been a bit overdone now across a variety of heroes, and I think he's just not doing enough to be that tempting. You know, if it was like 100% increased damage, you could really capitalize on that, but with stats and everything, I think not a great choice anymore. Really surprised to see Aramis there because his stats are quite low. He was super dominant for a while and has fallen by the wayside, but average speed, 375% damage to the target and nearby. Boosts all allies' health by 30%. All allies are immune to new status ailments for 3 turns. Undispellable. Caster gets plus 30% defense for 3 turns and also has the cover mechanic and everything. I still use him on a team because I have him maxed already, but he's not the hero that he once was, and the game is not the game that it once was. So honestly, it's probably the best to choose the most modern hero that you can that fills a role that you need, because of how important they've made stats. It used to not matter quite so much. Now the stats are everything, which is unfortunate, but that's what's happening. All right, so 470% damage to the target. Target gets minus 44% defense for 4 turns. Deals 470 to a different enemy. The target of the second hit gets minus 44% mana generation. Too unpredictable, really. At one point when she first came out, she was quite good, but I think there's just too much randomness there. Is she usable? Absolutely. Just trying to decide who's the most dominant at the particular level. So, yep. Torben is interesting. Stats are doing a bit better than some of the others. Target receives 80% damage for all damage their allies receive for 3 turns. So it's like, what's his name? The blue guy. Can't think of his name. This puts a mark on the hero, and they receive 80% of all the damage that other people receive. So that one is marked for death, and they go down quickly. Then there's minus 44% defense just on the target for 3 turns, and then 200% damage to the target and nearby. So quite low damage. The attack stats looking pretty good here. I almost don't even want to be looking at all these double limit broken, because just the implication that any hero you get, you must double limit break if they want to be relevant is so stupid to me. They just keep moving the goalpost for what it takes to actually level up a hero, and it's just further and further away and more resources. So actually I'm going to turn that off because fuck the double limit break shit. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, so it's an interesting ability. It's one that I really want to like, but he's not doing enough on his own. If he had like a mega minion or something like that, that would be a lot more appealing because there'd just be more going on. But yeah, I don't think I never found the right team for this kind of thing. Sorry, I don't know why. As soon as I start talking, I'm yawning so much. Yeah, I never found the right team for this kind of hero. It's like it's really appealing in theory. I just couldn't make it work, and I think that's partially because he's not doing enough on his own. All right, Fortuna. I'm shocked to see at 15. I felt like she would have been at 10, but okay. Dispels buffs from all enemies. Deals 150 to all. That's pretty damn low. The Fiend damages the enemies with 55% attack, absorbs 22% health, and it gives minus 36% attack for as long as the Fiend is there. That's not enough. I mean, attack down is a lot better than it used to be because, like I said, the attack stats of so many heroes are so damaging. You have fast speed. That is good. But 150 is like almost nothing. So basically, she's just there to give a dispel and an attack down, and I don't think that does enough. Again, is she usable? Yeah, but is she the most competitive? No. So I think the best in this category is probably here with Smart Tongue. You have better stats, though still not fantastic. But average speed, Wither, very good. Because, let's see, minus 36% of 15 would be like 500 ish. And that's only held in place by a 22% heal will undo that, so it's very easy to undo that. This is permanent unless you have growth to counteract it, but yeah, 350 quite good. Permanent. Reduces max health of all enemies by 700 and is stronger against targets of boosted health, and I think that goes up to 1400 total, which is a lot. And all enemies get minus 45% defense against special skills for 4 turns. So that's a pretty good setup. I mean, the stuff is happening. You are lowering the effectiveness of the enemy team right away with that Wither. You're reducing their health substantially. You know, if they have significant boosted health, you're reducing that by 1400, which is equivalent to damage. And it also has the benefit of not being able to be healed back unless there's boosted health in the healing. So that's quite a lot. And then also you're setting up your other heroes to do more damage with that decreased defense against special skills, and you get it for 4 turns instead of 3. So that's pretty good. I would say my picks so far for 10 would be Voidstar, 15 would be Smart Tongue, and then let's look at 20 here. Really surprised to see a couple of these, including Anubis. It is the costume, so the stats are pretty insane if you go through the whole leveling up a rigmarole. Average speed. Inflicts the target with greed for only 3 turns. Wasn't it 4? No. Friendly effects from special skills only affect characters with greed. And the same team from getting friendly effects. Buffs. All buffs, healing, and growth effects. So that's pretty significant. Basically, the one you hit is the only one who will receive these. So you're choosing to cause 4 heroes to not receive buffs that they could be receiving. So that is pretty good. You know, this is a hero that I really underestimated, and I think a lot of people did. The stats were pretty poor before this insane costume bonus. I can't believe Season 5 already has a costume bonus like this. It's ridiculous. Significantly better than Season 2, which is years older. So weird. But yeah, I underestimated this. It can be pretty damn annoying. And then on top of that, 1,266 poison damage over 3 turns, which is substantial, and decreased defense. So this could really be a good setup on offense. It can be annoying on defense too. It's definitely not part of the meta, but something to consider. And then you've got this, these packed passives over here. It reminds me of the deals on the main screen where, they lined the entire side and they had to do a double row because they keep adding so much shit. So we'll probably be seeing that before too long. Double row of passives. So yeah, pretty solid. It's a certain play style, I think, that doesn't beat just raw damage and power, but can it be used to good effect? Absolutely. All right, next, Megiri, one of the top picks here, I would say. Average speed, recovers 60% health for all allies, solid stats. Lifts the latest cleansable, so just one, latest cleansable status ailment from all allies and randomly distributes them on enemies, which could mean that one enemy receives multiple from the way it's worded. I'm not sure if that's true, but it is worded that way. All active status ailments are uncleansable for all enemies for the remaining turns of the status ailment. So that happens after they're reallocated, which is nice. All allies get plus 60% defense. So you kind of have this a solid heal, solid heal, increased defense, partial cleanse, but at the disadvantage of your opponent. One of the nice things is you're also a paladin, defense up, immune to defense down, and this character receives 10% health each time a status ailment expires or is cleansed, removed, or reallocated. So she contributes to that. So you have a really dynamic and solid healer if that's what you need, and that is one of my top picks. I haven't made up my mind here yet, but she is quite good. Mad Hammer. So one of the first Mega Minion heroes. Stats you can see are suffering at this point. She's got that randomness to her. I don't think she's worth 20, but I know people are going crazy over the Mega Minions right now. So deals 500% damage to the target. Again, the attack stat's a bit low. We're seeing things that are pushing 1700 now when they're new. 50% chance to deal 450% damage to a random different enemy, so it can't be the first one unless there's only one hero left. Summons a Black Boar Mega Minion with 62% HP and 230% attack, so that is still good. So it's like you're healing, but also guaranteed slash attacks every turn. Target hit by the Mega Minion can't get their status ailments cleansed or reallocated for 4 turns. So you can use that in a synergy. Doesn't have like the bleed effect like some of the newer ones have, which I think is better because just doing damage is better than putting bad status ailments like this that block you from doing other things. In my opinion, I think just damage output, the faster the damage you can deal, the better is always what's been dominant. You have that passive which deals damage and blind with a certain percent chance. Finishing my thoughts there real quick. One of the weaker choices at 20. I think for 10 should be a very strong choice. 15 is probably what feels fair. 20 feels like they're just trying to capitalize on the hype around this particular family. All right, so Guardian Hippo, pretty surprised to see at 20 because look at those stats. I still use a double limit broken Hippo as one of my main rating teams, and I can feel that she's starting to fall behind just stat-wise. You can't chip through those heroes as well by setting up your synergies to maximize this, but still a good hero. Fast speed is great. 3 turns. This character deals 225% damage to all enemies each time an ally casts their special skill. All allies get plus 34% mana generation. You can get some cool stuff going on. The team I use with Hippo is Hippo, Costume Perseus, and the blue Taunt Ninja, Oni something. And then Forces and the green ninja healer that looks like a grandma. So there's multiple forms of taunt. There's the decreased defense against blue, which helps Hippo's damage go a lot higher. There's a dispel in there, some dodge, some other counterattack and things going on. And that team used to be fucking amazing. And it's still quite good considering how old all the heroes are. But it's just so hard to beat the dominant new teams without having those same heroes pushed all the way up as far as you can. So Hippo, I think, has the fun factor. And if you're selective about the raids that you set up and you can get a good synergy going, you can create some really fun teams. So I wouldn't underestimate, though don't expect this hero to be like dominant against anyone, because it's more of an outdated hero that has some fun factor going for it. All right, last but not least, Ferris was pretty badass when he came out. I think he's one of those heroes that was released in like the wrong portal. You know, like they feature one or two in there and it's like, oh wow, who's this cool hero that's featured in here, and has kind of fallen by the wayside. Definitely hurt by average speed, but the construct thing is pretty crazy with this core that can deal extra damage. Corrosive core, I mean. Immune to special innate resistance against status ailments that block special skills. So deals 390% damage to the target and nearby. They receive 873 bleed over 3 turns. Target and nearby enemies get minus 60% defense against nature for 3 turns. At fast speed, this will be a super dominant hero. On offense still. Average speed hurts that because, you know, charging in 7 tiles is substantially easier in many cases than charging in 9 or 10, depending on your troop situation. So wouldn't be my pick, but again, I will say I'm heavily biased towards fast speed damage dealers on offense. I have to use average speed healers. That's often the case. There's not a lot of very good fast speed healers, though there are some coming out now. So I think my top choice here would probably be Meg Geary, but I think I'm finding myself needing some strong healers. Hippo is a lot of fun if you don't have her and you're not expecting her to feel like a dominant hero still, because she's not going to. Ferris you could definitely make work. If you don't mind average speed heroes, you can have a setup to deal some really solid damage. If you can combine some other kind of status ailment damage in there too, then that could be substantial with the bleed you're getting and the decreased defense against nature. Anubis could be fun if you want a hero that's a little more challenging to use, requires a little more specificity on how they're used while getting some extremely dominant stats at the same time. Like that should be tempting, at least stat wise, considering the abilities are quite good as well. So this one's a little harder to say for certain because there are some good contenders here. So yeah, I think those are my full thoughts. The first 2 categories, it's easier for me to say who I think is the most dominant, though there are some competing choices there. So anyways, let me know what you guys decided, because I'm sure some of you have already decided for 48 hours now at this point, which I don't know. I feel like there's an advantage to wait more so than there is a disadvantage to not waiting. But do what you want to do. So yeah, let me know what you thought of these suggestions, who you ended up taking, and yeah, that's that. I'll see you guys in the next video.